Hey, this is Chuck, and you are listening to Fans with Bands, the podcast where we talk to the fans and the bands they dig about life, music, and whatever the hell else we want to talk about. Today on Fans with Bands, we are talking to Chirp. Check it out. Hey, this is Chuck with Fans with Bands, and I am talking to Jay, Brian, Sam, and Gaston of Chirp. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Hey,
Going good.
Awesome. We got fans, Ralph, and there's a cadre of folks over there. You can't actually, I can see them, but you can't actually hear them right now. But there's a little crowd of folks over there. So it's great to actually see you guys. I mean, I know it's not in real life, but it's cool to see you virtually. And it's been like a minute and a half because I think the first time I saw you guys was at the Dark Horse 4Elf show.
Yeah.
Where Brian had his very cool onesie.
That's where that picture is from? That was going on? I was wondering. I'd never seen that onesie, but I'd like it if he busted.
There's a lot of people who've worn this twice and Blues forever. I don't know.
Didn't you wear that for like a string of shows? Weren't there like 3 or 4 shows in a row you wore that? Or was that just our
I wore that a lot. It was warm. Kept my.
That's right. That's right.
It was great. It lit up, looked cool during certain moments.
It was a good fashion statement. It went with the music too, had the energy of the music. So I was like, yes, this is perfect.
Exactly.
Brian's always seeming to just come up with some random crazy outfits that I never see till it's like time to go on stage.
This is like the most right now.
He just comes out from behind backstage, and I'm like, "That's not what you were wearing before." That's crazy.
That could be on like a back of a shirt. What will Brian wear?
Yeah, I like that.
So
start being a band fashion consult. Just
there you go. Yeah, it could be like a whole. Yeah, it could be like a whole Instagram thread. This is what Brian's wearing today.
There you go. There you go.
This is what Brian's wearing.
So I've been following you guys. Haven't actually seen you live since that show, which is I feel like I've been shortchanged. I can't figure out exactly why I've missed seeing you live, but I loved seeing you then, and I've seen that you guys have been working on a new album. So tell me, like, there's a series of questions here. Number one, what's the best part of doing that recording process? What's the new name of the album, and when is that album going to come out? So
the best part of the process. That's a tough question. Honestly, my favorite thing is just sitting in the control room and like listening to the other guys like rip takes and just like getting really excited about what they're doing and being like, I can't wait for people to hear this. Like I obviously enjoy the process, like recording myself and putting it down, but like I get so in my head doing it.
Yeah.
So when you get back in the control room and you get to like listen to somebody else for a little bit and just relax and like enjoy their talents and what they're capable of, that's like a really fun feeling. That's my favorite thing personally. The name of the album, we have a working title. In Motion is what I was thinking of. That's kind of like a part of a lyric from one of the tunes called Move, but it's not necessarily set in stone.
Okay.
So we'll see if we end up keeping that. I think it kind of goes with some album art we're looking at right now too. And then what was the last question? When it's looking like it's coming out?
Yeah.
I'm aiming for probably midsummer.
Cool.
Like I'm hoping for July, but we haven't even really gotten into any like heavy mixing or anything like that because we're kind of still waiting on a few guests to get tracks back. Like we just got hopefully the final tracks back from a keyboardist that we're having guest on the album. It's actually Kevin Gaston, who is Corey Wong's touring keyboardist, and he plays on all Corey Wong's albums and stuff. He was on our first album.
Cool.
Super talented dude. So he sent us some remote stuff from his like home studio in Minneapolis. We've actually got to go through the last tracks he sent over tonight. And then we have a guitar player, Max Brown, who lives down in Nashville, who's going to be sending some pedal steel guitar as well as some slide guitar for one of the tracks called Fast Food Blues.
Wow, pedal steel.
And yeah,
Awesome.
Yep. Yep. So I'm really excited to get that on the track. And then, are you familiar with Paddlebots?
No.
Oh, Paddlebots is a great Michigan act that I would highly suggest everyone check out. Like super funky, super soulful, kind of like neo soul, progressive R&B kind of stuff.
Cool.
Like I just absolutely love that group. So their horn section is going to guest on one tune, and then our Ipsy friend, Ben Green, who plays with Sabbatical Bob,
Yeah.
another really awesome funk group, is going to send over.
Yeah,
that band is awesome.
You've seen them?
Yes, I saw them.
They're crazy.
Saw them at Grove, and they kicked ass. I was just like, "What? Who are these guys?" Yeah, they're
yeah. Those are some incredible players in that band.
Yeah, and they're so young too. They're all like fresh out of college, like early 20s, making me feel super discouraged about playing music.
You want to like practice at the same time. It's great.
Yeah.
I think the first Chirp show that I did when we played over in Chelsea, Sabbatical Bob was playing at the Blind Pig like after us.
Oh wow!
And their guitar, like, I was all like high from playing the first show with the new band and thinking like, oh, this is so exciting. And like, oh, guitar is fun. I like guitar. And then I go to see Sabbatical Bob, and their guitar player is just ripping it up.
He's
like
such
just
a
beyond
monster.
belief.
Yeah.
And I see he's got M's on his hands. So he's not even old enough to drink at the bar yet. And I'm like, oh my God. That is just wild.
M's for monster, dude. Not for minor. M's for master.
Awesome. So Brian, what's been the best part of recording the new album for you?
I mean, I feel like getting together with everyone and actually just like hashing out the tunes and like adjusting, the forms and stuff was like honestly some of the most fun I had doing that. So we went so long without playing. So like being able to go into these tunes that we were used to playing like all the time.
Yeah.
Taking a break and then playing them again was like really nice because we had like fresh new energy. We're all really, really excited to, do it.
Yeah.
It was just way too long without playing. So I really liked the several, a couple days practicing, and I liked being able to use all sorts of like fancy gear. I got to use like 6 different basses on that whole album.
Wow.
And
cool.
I don't know. That Willis sound has just got a bunch of cool stuff, and they can make everything sound really good. So
very nice, very nice.
I definitely do.
And Sam, how about you? So you're one of the newer members of Chirp, correct?
Yes, this is true. I think for me it's always fun because typically when I am recording an album, you're taking music that already exists, but you're like now trying to make like the definitive version of it. So like we played live all the time. The songs, how they're going to be played live is like one thing. And there's like, they have a form to them. It's not that we just like go in without a plan, but there's a lot of loose energy where the tunes and the forms, you can inject your real-time ideas into them just to like whatever is going on in the moment, whatever energy everybody is throwing down that particular time. And so there's, I guess, a certain level of spontaneity when you play it live, and just like engaging in the thought puzzles of like, okay, for a version that's going to be cut to tape and it's going to be you're going to hear it exactly the same way every time you push play on this. What does that version need to be that requires a little bit more focus on like what the real part should be, instead of like we're just doing it live how it feels right in the moment. It's like, well, instead of like you get one chance to play it and hear it's now like you're going to hear it back 100 or 1,000 times. So like figuring out like, just the problem solving of it all.
Cool.
Is like, I like that.
Awesome.
And just like live in the studio is totally different. Like thinking about stuff from an arrangement or a sound design perspective, and knowing that like when we play live, it's just 4 people and we can do one thing at a time. Now, like, what can we make it sound like if we have guests, or if we, you know, can have overdubs or more instruments as a part of
Yeah.
it? Like, what can we really make it sound like?
Yeah, for sure. And Gaston, you're the newest member of church, correct?
Yeah.
Chirp, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. So what was the most
So-
what was the best part of the recording process for you?
So actually, for me, the best part is the whole thing. This is
That's a good answer.
a little thing. I enjoy the whole thing. You know, sorry, it's a bit hard to explain.
Yeah, no, that's good.
But I really enjoy the whole process, even when we were rehearsing. After that, the setup.
Yeah,
Record. Actually, from the first rehearsal with the band, I always was thinking in the recording. I always, in each rehearsal, I record in my cell phone.
oh, okay, cool.
And when I came back home, I listen, okay, this work, this doesn't work. Every time I was changing things to try to improve
Yeah.
the
So you were kind of thinking about it the whole time.
song. Sorry?
You were kind of thinking about it the whole time as you were rehearsing and thinking about, you were already thinking about how you were thinking the recording process would be and trying to refine that.
Yeah, I was thinking on that because for me it's a bit hard to resolve all of those problems in the recording session. I need more time. That's why I almost 1 year listen what was I'm doing to try improve. Of course, like Sam says, playing live is another vibe, another
Yeah.
way to think about. But anyway, I don't know if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure, man. I totally get it. And looks like Jack has joined. So Jack, can you hear us?
Is that Jack Long? Is that like my dad, Jack, or is that like
I
other
don't know.
Jack?
It just says Jack.
I hope it's my dad.
There's a random Jack
There's a
on the
random
page.
Jack. Jack, are you there?
There's another Jack in this group chat up in the
Yeah. Well,
on the Ralph page.
Oh,
I don't think Jack. Well,
In-
yeah.
in blue and
There's a
orange
Jack over
shirt.
there. I can see him. He's raising his hand. Awesome. All right. Well, it looks like Jack's muted, so I'll just keep going.
Okay.
So when you were talking about like the music and the arrangements and working on and Jay was talking about too, as far as putting those things together, having guest artists, do you worry about trying to pull off some of the things you can do in the studio live? Do you ever try to limit yourself there so that you know that we can do this in the studio and we can do it live? Or do you say the studio is the studio, I'm going to go crazy and wild, I'm going to do whatever I can because that's what I want to have happen, and we'll do our best live?
I definitely see the studio and playing live as two separate things, and the way that you create a satisfactory product, like the end goal, just the process and the workflow is so different. I try to like not get caught up in like, oh, like this is the best way for me to execute this in the live setting, therefore it's the best way in the studio. I kind of just try to disconnect that and divorce that. As far as like layering and arrangement and stuff like that, the studio is like an incredible tool that allows you to get crazier than what you would otherwise be able to do, for sure. And so like in my approach, I always want to utilize that because like, if there's just 4 of us, we can only pull off so much live. There's other things that you might hear or you might want to be able to do. Or like, you know, it's 2 guitars, bass and drums. Like, what if we want to, you know, what if we think a keyboard solo sounds better
Right.
in this section or something? We can't really do that live, but we can do it in the studio. I think the thing that you're kind of talking about is like not wanting to get too crazy or being concerned about being able to pull stuff off live.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to. I do want to be in a place where like you don't take your studio product to the point where it becomes spiritually something different. Like you want to, like, yeah, you can add more stuff and have a variety of sounds that you might not be able to have live, but as long as like the spirit of the tune stays intact between those two, so it's not like jarring
Right.
to a listen. Like it can be different enough where a listener is like, oh, I didn't notice that when you played it live, or like you didn't do that. As long as like, you know, the song still has the same overall vibe.
Yeah.
Then as long as that's there, then like the smaller differences don't worry me as much.
Yeah. So yeah, I was wondering, like, do the rest of you guys feel the same way, like that the soul of the music is as long as you're maintaining that when you play it live, then you're good? Or do you have that concern of going too far astray and trying to recreate things live that you can't necessarily?
I don't think that comes into play much. I think it's just sort of, for me, I go off instinct. It's like what feels right in either situation. And obviously playing live, I'm open to just expanding the tunes whatever way we want to, you know. But if we're in the studio and we have the capability to do something that we might not be able to replicate live, I'm totally fine with that, because like my initial vision for a lot of the songs is stuff like, you know, we don't have a keyboardist. Maybe eventually we would like to have one. Like we don't have a string section. It'd be nice to play with one live one day, but obviously that's out of our budget. But I don't want to limit the vision of the songs or what we want, any experimenting we want to do in the studio just because we couldn't do it live. And when we're doing it live, it's like sometimes finding ways to approximate it or just doing a different take on it because we're 2 guitars, bass and drums, you know, which is kind of a fun challenge sometimes too. And like, I think like I mentioned earlier about the album, like a lot of the forms were, we really tried to trim as much of the fat out as possible to shorten them. Cause like a lot of our songs like live get up between like 10 and 15 minutes, but they kind of like, at least the stuff I've written more recently sounds like, I don't know, more on the pop side than it's been in the past.
Oh, cool.
So it was like, they still ended up being like between 6 and 7 minutes on the album. Like that's always so hard for me. But I think live, we're going to keep those like initial live arrangements so we can like stretch them out. Cause I think like, that's what we all like to do. That's what I like to do at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was some of the hardest part of, you know, getting stuff down. Is like we're so ingrained in having it go a certain way after playing it for so long. And then just, you know, having to chop it apart, you know. Oh man. I mean, I was kind of bad at, you know, remembering the forms, but I got through it. I got through it. I did it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a, you know, because you guys, when you play live, you're really like off, you know, experimenting, improvising, and to dial it back in when you're in the studio would be, I think that would be hard. That would be a challenge.
Definitely. Like, you know, we rely on feeding off of what each other is doing in like an improvisatory way live to like create that high energy, that like capturing it when you're like giving it a haircut and making it more listenable, more accessible, but still maintaining that level of energy. It was a really fun challenge.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I was going to say,
this is the high challenge.
Yeah. The first album still had that. I mean, it did capture the energy of the band. I thought, you know, you had some great songs on there that felt live. Although I know that you had to work on it to get that recording. And it sounds like they're doing the same approach this time, trying to keep it so that you have that energy, you know, like Sam was saying.
Definitely.
But
I think if anything, I think that energy is going to show more on this album because we actually laid down the tracks as a band before going and kind of doing overdubs and stuff like that. Whereas the first album, it was all just individual tracking. And I'm like, I think you're right. I think for having recorded it, like mostly in my grandma's basement and living room and just like recording in a house, like a place that really is not treated for sound at all. Pretty happy with like some of the sounds and some of the energy we got on some of it. That being said, like I think we could have gotten better quality actually being in a studio, but I think there's a lot of like pretty live energy, like hearing these like initial mixes back, and I'm definitely excited for people to hear it.
Cool. So one thing that I've wondered ever since I've saw the name is, where did you come up with the name Chirp?
That was actually our old drummer, John Goreen. We were kind of sitting around. The only thing we really had in mind was we wanted something like terse, something short, something easy to spell, easy to remember. And John instinctually just started blurting out animal noises. So I think probably 40 or 50 animal noises in, he said chirp, and like me and the old bass player looked at each other. We're like, yeah, let's do chirp. And then we kind of came up with like a vague idea for the logo the day of, and like hit up one of our buddies, Gordy Sim, who did the logo we still use to this day, which I absolutely love. And it was kind of history from there. I still really like the name. Like over the years, we've tried to like kind of like BS some stories or attribute some significance to it that's just not really there.
Right.
But I kind of like that. It's like you pick something blank and then you get to fill the meaning hopefully over the years, as opposed to like the name defining you beforehand, you know. As far as like band names or just names for things in general, I like them nice and vague and undefined. And I like when like the artist defines that thing, you know, it doesn't give you any like preconceived image of like what it's going to be like, which is kind of cool, you know.
Well, I'll tell you what came into my mind when I saw so at first what captured me was the logo. I love that bird, you know, he's super cute. And there's a sort of like playfulness, and as soon as I heard you guys play, then I was like, this is it. Like that energy, that kind of like boop, boop, you feel like this little bird is going to be like jumping around getting crazy, and that's what I felt. I was like, this is perfect. This is the perfect name for this band.
I love that.
Perfect.
Oh man. So one thing I like to delve into is sort of the origin story of you guys as musicians. So what inspired you? What wanted you to not only just play music, but then get in a band, write your own music, and do that kind of thing where you're trying to like get your music out to the world and express yourself artistically? So let's start with Gaston.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear it. I don't remember. Actually, I start to play drums a bit old.
Oh, really?
With 17, 18. Yeah. I don't know. I just all the stuff around me and was a bit hard to buy the first drums, but a couple years working, I got one, and so I start to study very slow, actually, just for fun. But years later, like 24, I say, okay, the most thing that I like is play drums. So I decided to leave all my things and just focus on the drums studies, and until now.
Cool. That's awesome.
Years later, I moved to Brazil when I studied there in a university. I lived there for 6 years, and was good. And I don't know, I'm continue studying and enjoying and
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the beauty of play music. It's a never ending journey, really. I mean, once you start, you're just like on this road that's never going to end until you take the dirt nap.
Mm-hmm.
great.
So Jay, how about you? What got you into wanting to do music?
It's always something I'd like wanted to do, like probably since like I think maybe around like 12 or 13. I really wanted to pick up and start like playing the guitar because I had a couple friends who did. And my mom like bought me a guitar for my birthday, and it must have sat in my closet for like 6 years without being touched because I was kind of always just like honestly very, very intimidated by it, by like the act of learning it. It's never like I was always like busier with sports growing up and stuff. So a lot of my time was like devoted to that. And music was just like a very foreign thing to me outside of like a year of doing it in like 5th grade.
Yeah.
But oh, is somebody here?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I thought I heard a new voice.
Oh, look out.
But yeah, got out of high school and I did a couple years at WCC. And I wasn't
I think there is somebody here.
is that a dog?
It's probably Shiloh.
Hey Jay, can you hear us?
Sorry, I thought I was muted.
Oh, you're fine.
That's all
no
right,
worries.
man. We heard
Sorry, I was boring.
Yeah,
you. Sorry, I was boring.
we
You,
heard
Shiloh.
we heard a dog growling. I'm like,
Everything's chill over there, over by my dad. I thought I heard a dog.
that's awesome.
But yeah. So I'm at WCC, and it was like I was like doing well in school. It was like community college, so it wasn't necessarily like taking all my time to be like doing well in classes and stuff. So I was like, I need to pick up a new hobby because I had just this time on my hands. So I ordered like a $60 beat up acoustic off eBay and just started like learning folk songs, a bunch of like Bob Dylan and Beatles off Ultimate Guitar, and
Cool.
just loved it. Like I couldn't put the guitar down from there once I learned my first few chords and just kept moving forward with it. Kind of just learned how to book shows, wrote my first few tunes and stuff like that. And yeah, the last like 11, 12 years, I've just kind of tried to continue moving forward with it.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Brian, how about you?
Well, I was in when I started, like when I was in 5th grade, started on the stand-up bass. I was like, that's the biggest one. I want to play it. And I started playing that. And I wasn't really taking it that seriously, but like I noticed I was like pretty decent at picking up, songs that I heard. I was able to figure stuff out. And my orchestra teacher, Jed Fritzmeyer, was a bass player out in Chelsea. I grew up in Chelsea.
Oh, cool.
And I don't know, probably around 7th grade, I got a bass guitar and started playing a jazz band. I started taking it a little bit more seriously. And then I saw who Victor Wooten was. And once I saw Victor Wooten, I was like, holy cow, like you can do that with that. Like there's what?
Mm-hmm.
So then that lit a fire right under my little tushy. And I started taking it like way more seriously. And along with playing stand-up a little bit more seriously too. And I don't know, I just had a really good music teacher who like I did not do well in school at all, like whatsoever. But that was like the only thing like I could find myself like being decent at in school.
Yeah.
So I just loved it since like the beginning kind of. And yeah, I've just been playing bass ever since then.
Cool.
I did used to skateboard a lot back then. I always broke stuff. And I do remember my orchestra teacher like being like, all right, you serious about this? You're like, you want to do this? He's like, all right, take that skateboard and put it on Craigslist right now. Oh. But yeah, Jed Fritzmeyer out of Chelsea, Michigan. He is like a huge reason why I play. And he just showed me so many players. I mean, he was just awesome. Just having a really good teacher like made me really want to do it. And it's like my cozy spot. Just like when I'm playing my instrument, it's just, I don't know. That's like real life to me. Everything else is cooler. Not really. I'm joking. Everything else is pretty cool. Don't get me wrong. But
Cool.
Brian, I can't see you as not a bass player. When I think of you like in any other identity, or just not as like someone who crushes the bass, it's such an odd thought.
My count.
That sounds yummy.
Oh, I hear somebody.
Yeah.
What up?
Is it,
It's Brynne.
is it
Yo, what up?
Brynne? Am I saying your name right? Can you hear us?
I saw a little picture of her, but I didn't actually see her.
Yeah.
Heard her.
Looks like she's
hello.
there, but am I saying her name right? Is it Brynne?
Brynne.
Yeah. Brynne, are you there?
I'm here. I just look terrible.
Oh, you don't have to. You don't have to be on camera. I just want to make sure you could hear us.
Yeah, I was in here. I was just I'm sorry. A lot of things were going on.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Do you? So, how did you become a fan of Chirp?
I'm actually dating Sam.
All right, excellent. And I was just going to flip over to Sam to say, how did you become what made you want to become a musician?
My my dad, who is up in the top right corner, he when we were growing up, he had a few acoustic guitars, just like lying around the house. He had played casually throughout his adult life, and I was always very mysteriously fascinated by the instrument. I couldn't really put my finger on what it was about it, because it wasn't like he would like take it out and play it too often or anything like that. Every once in a while, but I was just like really, really fascinated by it. And then I think it was spring break when I was in 7th or 8th grade, I was able to get an electric guitar. And I was also like right around the same point where I was actually able to like get on the internet and like watch videos of like, musicians playing and just like people playing electric guitar and making this like loud, gnarly, distorted, huge sound, just like completely blew me away. I like didn't really know what to make of all of that. I didn't know what to make of like, you can do that for work. You can just like make noise and like bounce energy off of people. And that, so I really wanted to learn it. And then like pretty early on, just like doing like lessons, learning like the names of the strings and like how to make basic chords. Like got turned on to, I guess like your prototypical guitar heroes like Jimi Hendrix and Jimmy Page and Jeff Beck and all of these guys, because like the music that I listened to growing up was all, my dad has like the Beatles and Van Morrison and all these like really, really great songs that are known for like composing parts that fit together. And that was all like really, really cool. And I always loved listening to that music. But like starting to play guitar and being turned on to these players that literally like there it isn't like this is the part that I'm playing and that's how it goes. It's like this is what I'm feeling in the moment. And like whatever emotional or spiritual energy that I have within me right now, that's coming out. And what sound is coming out, like coming from this place of inspiration, it like cracked open my world in a way that is like, still taking me in that direction. But just being inspired by these people that inject this incredible amount of spiritual real-time energy into their playing. I had no idea that music could sound like that like you could put your own personality and your own emotion into what it sounds like in such a way. And so, yeah, it was like the show was over for me since then. It was like, yeah, like that's what I gotta do.
That's awesome. And
I get Sam.
and it's like it's such a journey in and of itself, you know, because it's one thing to have that drive and want to express yourself, but then there's that, you know, there's the technical tools that you have to learn of your instrument, but then also like learning the rules and then breaking the rules basically to create. I think that's something you guys do with your music too, because it's, you know, improvisational, very in some respects free forming, and so you take an idea and you let it run and you ferment it and you kind of bake it with your own special sauce and let it roll. So that's kind of cool. It's very cool. So that brings up another question, because you kind of touched on like musicians that were important to you. What was the very first concert you went to? Jay, how about you?
Smash Mouth at the age of 7.
Hell yeah.
I got to
Awesome.
I got to go back. It was like one of my mom's friends, I want to say, knew somebody on their crew, and they came to like the Palace of Auburn Hills or something like that. That is, it's like so young, it's hard to remember a lot of it, but I do have a very distinct memory of the guitar player walking over, and he kind of leans in close, and he's like, I'm like looking up at him, and he takes a big puff of his cigarette and he goes, "Never do this, kid," and then puts the cigarette back in his mouth and walks over and is just crushing the guitar. And Brian and I were just talking about this last night. I was just thinking to myself, like, yeah, I was thinking to myself, like, one day I'm gonna smoke cigarettes like that guy. That looks so cool. Like, he 100% influenced me in the wrong way, and here I am.
Yeah, bad influence.
To this day.
Bad
Oh, man.
influence.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Brian, how about you? What was your first concert?
Like my first real concert was Incubus.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I went with my older brother Mark.
Very cool.
My older brother, on the younger side of 6. Like a lot of my older, like pretty much Mark was like really into music, listening to music. He had a bunch of like friends that I was like, you know, always looked up to.
Yeah.
And he took me out to go see Incubus, and I think Sam was at that show too. Where it was.
It was at DTE Pine Knob.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
wow, crazy. So
Yeah.
Sam, what was yours? That wasn't the same show?
Oh yeah, that wasn't my first show. I'm a few years older than Brian. The first show that I was ever taken to was Raffi.
Nice.
I don't know if you know Raffi, but he
Oh,
sings
yeah.
all kinds of children's songs, Baby Beluga, Banana
Oh
Phone,
yeah.
all kinds of that
Oh,
stuff.
banger.
I was probably like 3. I don't remember it at all. But I still, I don't know. I know that was the first one that I got to go to. The first one that I got to like go to by myself was Red Hot Chili Peppers when I was 15. I had like a friend who was 1 grade older that drove us down to Grand Rapids for that.
Awesome. That's a hell of a show.
Yeah, that was, again, it was just like, you know, something that like you experience, and when you're a kid, you've never seen anything like that. You're just never the same.
Yeah, for sure. Gaston, how about you?
I remember one in Montevideo, that is the Uruguay capital. Was very, I don't know, it was good, but I remember how my legs were shivering. You know, but but yeah, I remember that it was 6 months later.
Oh, really?
That when I
Very cool.
got my drums, and 6 months
So
later
you were inspired
I
right
played.
off the get.
And
That's
you-
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jay, how about Jay? What was the first concert you went to?
I had the Smash Mouth answer.
Oh no, I'm sorry. The other J. There's a J with a J.
Oh, that might be.
Oh,
That's me. Sorry.
oh, okay.
Mine. I want to say mine was Monsters of Rock, and I think it was early '80s, '82 maybe, and I was 11.
Nice.
Yeah, and that changed my world. Obviously, changed my whole scope.
Who Monsters of Rock was that? Was that Metallica?
It was a huge venue. It was at I want to say Silverdome,
Oh, okay.
and it was like Van Halen and
Nice.
Scorpions. There was a bunch of. I want to say there was 20 bands or something like that.
Nice.
It was a huge venue and a huge concert, and really cool. That was my very earliest memory, anyway, of my very first real concert.
Very cool.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. Ralph, how about Ralph? What was your first concert?
Pretty old, so I used to go to all the things like the Frost and Brownville Station, Savoy Brown. When I was in high school, I went to see the Doors,
Oh,
see
awesome.
Hendrix and stuff all in high school. That was in the 60s.
Oh man.
But a lot of, we used to go to the Battle of the Bands and the Saginaw, that big Saginaw, Bob Seger out of Detroit, Flint.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Mark Mysterians and all those bands from the local guys.
Very cool. Very cool. And Brynne.
My first concert, as far as I'm aware, was actually Earth, Wind, and Fire when I was 15.
Damn. Jealous of that one.
I bought, well, I didn't actually buy it. My mom bought them, but I was inspired to get 4 tickets for my dad's birthday, one of his favorite bands. And I actually rushed the stage towards the end, and I got to shake Verdine's hand.
Awesome.
And that is still like one of the most amazing moments of my life. And I saw them again, like in 2013 at Common Ground in Lansing. And that was amazing.
Fantastic.
I think Maurice's grandkids came out on stage at some point.
Awesome. That's
Nice.
awesome. That is awesome. Very cool. And so still sticking around that kind of concert theme. So if you guys could go play a show right now anywhere in the world, where would you go and who would you like to have on the bill with you? And Jay, we'll start with you.
Where? It's very general, but probably somewhere in South America. It's hard to put my finger like at a particular spot, but actually, no. I would love to do Australia. I would love to do like an Australian tour. I think that'd be awesome. I'm gonna switch to Australia. With who?
Yeah.
Earth, Wind, and Fire would be on that list 100%. They're like in my top 3 of all time, no question. It'd be awesome to do something with Donald Fagen. Unfortunately, Walter Becker's no longer with us, but that's the closest we would be able to get to like playing with Steely Dan. And any form or offshoot of Wolfpack would be a ton of fun to play with, whether it be like Theo, Corey Wong, any of the Wolfpack dudes. I would love to collaborate with any of them.
Awesome. That sounds fantastic.
Australia with Earth, Wind, and Fire is, after thinking about that, that's a new dream of mine.
Awesome. Sam, how about you?
Oh man, I mean, there's so many places. I'm thinking of like American venues that are really gorgeous that I would love to play at. One would be the Gorge in Washington State.
Oh, I've heard about that place.
That is amazing. Up elevation, overlooks big cliff, body of water behind the stage.
Yeah.
Red Rocks is another one that's just like a beautiful venue. I imagine just like you'd be so inspired to play there. There's a few other, like Alpine Valley in Wisconsin is a cool one. Yeah, I don't know. Just, I mean, love to play those venues.
And who?
With who?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, some of my favorite guitarists that are still alive today. I love Robert Fripp. So if we could do something with King Crimson,
yeah.
that would be wild, but they're too good to be on the same bill. I love Annie Clark, St. Vincent. I think she's an incredible guitar
yeah.
player. It'd be cool to do a show with her. If Jerry Garcia were still alive, I'd love to do a show with the Dead, but that couldn't happen. But he'd be one of the few.
Well, in our perfect world, we can make anything happen, so it's all good. Brian, how about you?
I mean, I was gonna say Australia.
I saw you over there.
But yeah, it'd be Australia with Ariana Grande and JD Beck and Domi.
Oh,
and
cool.
Thundercat, of course. That whole group. I mean, I don't know. Or it could be, I don't know. Like, if it's like people that are not here with us anymore, probably like, oh man, some like Weather Report with I mean, at cool spot. What's a cool spot? New Zealand. That's pretty much Australia.
Yeah, there you go. And it doesn't have animals that can kill you either. So
yeah, but that's the cool part about Australia. They got so many cool things. Like you got to be like a little like, yeah, it's really pretty there. The girls have hot accents, but like everything there can kill you.
Right.
Lots of poisonous.
Right. I can tell you all sorts of stuff about Australian animals that will get you dead for a different time.
All right.
I don't know. We could just have this Zoom chat totally shift gears and have you just teach us about Australia for the next hour.
Yeah, we could.
Brian,
make this educational.
His night job after music is a literal zoologist, so he knows about every animal.
Animals are cool.
Awesome. And
coral's the best though. That's my favorite animal.
Cool. Gaston, how about you?
Yeah, for sure. Australia is a good one. But I don't know, somewhere in Europe, or for me, even here in US, that I'm new here. But I would like to play with that answer that question with John Scofield.
Oh
yeah, there you go.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, he should have been on my list.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I also would like to play in the Brian Blade and the Fellowship, but is the Brian Blade is not in the band, is not Brian Blade and the Fellowship.
Cool.
Fair enough.
Gaston and the Fellowship.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so Jay, if you could go anywhere and go see a show, where would that be? And that would be the J with no AY. Jay, can you hear us?
Yeah, hi, sorry, I'm here. I gotta go with Sam and say Red Rocks.
All right. Very cool.
Red Rocks would be awesome.
Nice. And who would you like to see?
Right now I'm super into Revolution, so that would be
all right.
Nice.
Very cool. And Brynne, how about you?
I'm not really a musician, but I guess if I could play anywhere, I don't really know where it is, but there's this island off of some country.
Sorry.
And it's just like, it has this one little house on it. And it's just like this, I wish I could describe it, but it's like this isolated island, and it just looks across like huge green fields that kind of end up going vertical behind it. And like an ocean everywhere.
Oh, wow.
I just think that would be cool. And then I honestly don't know who I would perform with. Rihanna would be amazing, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Yep.
Bad girl Riri.
And my favorite singer is Nail. So that would be cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Ralph, how about you?
Say hi.
Where would you like to go see a show, and who would you
I'd
like
like
to
to
see?
see a show in front of the Coliseum. And if I could go back in time, I'd love to see John Lennon. He's my favorite artist of all time.
Awesome.
Hell
Very
yeah.
cool. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Your daughter,
Right.
sorry,
Right.
I interject with the story. Your daughter actually saw Paul McCartney at the Coliseum do a free show.
Holy,
My sister.
really?
So it's not completely out of the realm of possibility.
Plus the food is great, right? In Rome, how can you beat?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, guys, it's been fantastic talking with you. I really appreciate you guys being here. And I can't wait to hear the new music because it sounds like it's going to be amazing. And I'm hoping, so it sounds like you got potentially some shows coming up like May, June, July.
Yeah, we got a couple.
Yep.
Awesome. And are they firm shows?
They're fewer firm at this point.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah, we've got April 18th. It's a drive-in show in Detroit. Check out our Facebook and stuff for ticket information. It's literally like in an open field.
Oh.
Like we're renting a field, so if people can drive in and have their pods and stuff to be socially distanced. That's the one. We've got the. Are we doing the one before where we're on the podcast? Are we doing a stream through that, or are we just talking with that?
That's a stream as well. I think we're playing maybe 2 sets.
Oh,
I'm not
cool.
sure. But yeah, that's called Play Something Good podcast. That's the 17th. So that's the day before the Detroit show.
Awesome. I'll have to check that out. That sounds good.
And then
the festival in Adrian.
Yep.
In May.
May 15th and 16th, or maybe 14th through 16th. It's a small festival at Painted. I think it's called Painted Acres Farm, our friend's property down in Adrian. I think for the moment, they actually just closed ticket sales because Michigan just capped outdoor gatherings to 50 people. And then initially was set at 100. So keep an eye on it. Hopefully they open it back up because obviously we have like a month and a half till that happens. But
yeah,
Michigan's a little ugly with the COVID situation right now, even with the vaccine. So I'm hoping that doesn't affect a lot of the stuff we do have in the books for summer, a lot of like the pending stuff we have right now. It's looking like we should be hopefully getting out like 3 or 4 times a month, which is better than I expected for summer 2021, the way things have been the last year. So
I'm optimistic that, more and more people are going to get vaccinated. I mean, we're going obviously like through a big wave, but I'm feeling optimistic that once we cross that. And
me and Jay just got our appointments
cool.
today.
Yep. Very cool.
Within
awesome.
20 minutes of each other across the state.
Yeah, we got to drive all the way to Mount Pleasant to get it.
Wow.
But
wow. Well, awesome. Congrats, guys. That's great.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
I've got just one last question. Slightly controversial. I hope it's not going to create too many riffs here, but pizza, pineapple or no pineapple?
Oh, pineapple on pizza for sure. It's okay. Live your life. And if you don't like it, whatever. But come on.
Yeah, I can't say I'm like in the mood for it 100% of the time, but like I do it often.
And jalapeno bacon, pineapple is a great.
Yeah, that's
pizza.
a good combo.
Awesome. Jay, what about you?
Man, I'm big on I might have misheard the question. Was it toppings? Pizza
Yeah,
toppings?
so pineapple or
Pineapple
no
or no?
pineapple?
It's like mood dependent for me. Like sometimes I hate it. Sometimes I'm like, this makes no sense. And sometimes I'm like, no, this is awesome. I don't know if it's like the particular pizza. Like maybe it's more about whether the pizza matches pineapple than the opposite. Because there's a lot of different
cheese
kinds
profile
of pizza.
makes a difference.
Yeah, yeah. Or maybe it's how much alcohol I have in my system. I don't know. But I'm somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle.
All right.
Yeah.
Gaston, how about you?
Yeah, pineapple is good, but not always.
Also sauce dependent too. You got.
Oh yeah.
It's a really sweet sauce, and you have pineapple on there. You're like, what are you doing? But if it's like a nice little sauce,
yeah,
salty, and then you got sweet pineapple. That's what I'm talking about.
You know what's oddly good is pineapple and jalapeno together on a pizza.
So I was just gonna, I was gonna ask because this
I
keeps
personally
coming up
have
and
a
up, and I'm like,
good old Supreme.
oh,
right
really?
now.
Nice.
Awesome. Very nice. Yeah, that's what I've heard is jalapeno and pineapple. I'm like,
They balance each other out nicely. It's kind of, you wouldn't expect like a tart and a spicy to go well together, but something about them actually like blends really nice. They like even each other out, but don't take the flavor away from each other. It's really good.
yeah, because I'm not
Put
a
some bacon on there. You get some smoke with it too.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
like, that's money. That's so good.
Yeah.
I may have to try this out. And Brynne, how about you? Pineapple? No pineapple?
I rarely eat a pizza without pineapple on it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like,
if I ask her what she wants, she's like, Hawaiian
Every time.
pizza, every time.
the only time I don't eat pineapple on my pizza is when I can't control who buys it or
Who's
gives it
buying
to me. So
Ralph, how about you? Absolutely,
Wood-fired
all
pizza,
right.
though. It's got to be wood-fired pizza with pineapple.
Oh,
It's the best way to.
there you go.
Oh, he's plugging his own cafe right now.
I'm plugging my Italian wood stove.
Getting called out.
And other Jay, how about you?
I'm okay with pineapple. The only thing I really can't get behind is barbecue chicken. My son loves the barbecue pizza, and I just can't do it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm not a barbecue fan. I mean, I like barbecue, but not pizza necessarily. Awesome. Well, thanks again, guys, for being on Fans with Bands, and can't wait to check out the new music and see you live soon.
Awesome. Thank you
All right.
again for having us. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This was awesome.
Yeah, good talking to you
Yeah.
today.
Thanks, Chuck.
All right, guys.
So
Take
is
it easy.
real quick, is this
Yeah.
something to look out for on like Spotify and YouTube? Is like the audio going to be posted later, or
Yeah. So, just so you know, it'll probably be like next month.
oh, that's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, the audio will be on Spotify. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be on Apple Podcast. Every podcasting platform you can get to, it'll be there. So
Killer. Sweet.
You can-
Well, yeah, I guess just let us know
yeah,
when that's all set, and we'll share it with our friends and fans and stuff.
yeah, hell yeah. All right, guys.
Awesome.
Take
All right,
care.
thank you, Chuck.
Yeah.
All right.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Later, y'all.
Bye.
Later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Luke and Deb.
Thanks again to Brian, Sam, Jay, and Gaston of Chirp, as well as fans Jay, Ralph, Jack, and Brynne for joining me on this episode of Fans with Bands. Keep your eyes peeled for live shows featuring Chirp this summer. It's going to be awesome. And be on the lookout for new music from Chirp coming soon. See the show notes for all the details and links. These are tough times for everyone in the creative industries such as music. Your support of live streaming, purchasing music, and merchandise is critical. If you can help out your local artists, please do. If you are in the Michigan area, consider following the Playing in the Detroit Area Tonight Facebook page. It is a place for fans and bands to support each other and share our combined love of music. Thank you all so much for listening. Be sure to hit subscribe on your favorite podcast service to get each and every episode of Fans with Bands. Spread the word by rating the show and leaving a comment. We want to hear what you think. You can keep in touch by following us on social media. This is a Life in Michigan production. Until next time, be well and kick out the jams.